Hi guys, so I've had a lot of questions on the QDB scores, and it's going to be worth my while to make a video to explain some of the things, some of the features that we can see on this particular tab, and how to use this data. And what the question that I had was actually, should we always look at the top? Well, not necessarily, because when I'm asleep, these these scores move up and down, and they'll sort of jumble. They'll move up and down, and the reason why it gets sorted is me manually clicking that and sorting it. So if you're looking at the QDB sheet and you're seeing reds up here and greens down there, and maybe greens in the middle, it's because it just needs sorting. I was hoping that might be obvious, but obviously it probably might not be, and you might just be looking at the top and thinking, well, it's buy, but you're not looking at the scores. So this is a video to help you understand that the scores are important, but the whole thing's filtered by me, is sorted by me manually. Okay, well, I try to do a macro to do that for us every half an hour, but it failed, and so it has to be done manually. So that's number one point, is that if it's muddled and jumbled, it's because it's just waiting for me to filter, to sort it. Okay, to sort that particular column. Now the second one I had, well, it's about the hue. The darker the color is, the stronger. So if it's darker green, it's a stronger buy. If it's a dark red, it's a stronger sell. That fairly should be quite self-explanatory. Another question I had was, would it be better for weight to, if it's got a good score, would it be better to wait for that to go red? And yes, it would be. Now the logic for that is that it's got a good score, but what it does, price has to zigzag. It has to. We can't go all the way up to its destination. We have to move across time, right? Maybe a circle isn't the best one, but we have to, this is time, okay, and this is price. Right? We can't just go like that, because price doesn't do that. It has to move across time, and of course naturally, as part of a product of price, it has to retrace, and it's a natural conclusion, a consequence of price action. So that's the retracement aspect. This is why if you wait for the top to go red, it can be a good entry here. Okay, and then you're making sure that you're getting a good risk to reward, and you're doing your risk management things. See, for now, you could potentially enter, but if the ADR is 0.6, there's not that much gas left in the tank. You could probably have a scalp, and it might be fine. So if you're waiting for that to go red, and it's got a good score, it could be a very good contender for a long. Likewise with the logic here, if we're green up here, we shouldn't be, and we're looking to sell it, because basically it's done the reverse of this. Okay, so maybe this is going to work. I'm not sure. And then we can, so if it's gone green, we're looking to sell, right? So at the bottom. So if this goes green down here, then we're looking to short it, because what it's done, it's just simply gone higher and then to come down again. It's making a leg higher in order to sell off, and this is the trend, right? And it's got the QDB scores are great because they've got the trend analysis inbuilt, because we're looking at your weekly, the daily, weekly and monthly pivots, and so obviously that tells us the trend. If we're above all three pivots, we're in an uptrend. Okay, and they're contenders for trending higher, basically. Another question I had was, what should I be aware of? Well, it's your ADR metric. You wouldn't really want to be trading something where we've exceeded the ADR 20, which dollar yen has. So you avoid that completely. If anything, you're probably looking, because we've exceeded the ADR, you might be looking for longs, because technically we've overdone it on the day. But we can see UJ had a big drop in the scores today, a huge drop, and we're at 6 now. So that's of note. And the second thing you need to be aware of is the long percentage ratio. So we have think about it. Think about like a train journey. So this is an old analogy that we use in the QDB service. that going to work? Right, so we start the journey and we start at 0. We're going to get to 50% and then we're going to get to 100%. And once we get to 100% long, there's nowhere left for it to go. Right? It can't physically go anymore. It has to come back 50% and then it goes to 0. And it does this all the time. So if it gets to like 5%, you want to avoid it because really you're going to get squeezed. And likewise, if it gets to 95%, where are you going to go? It can't go anymore. It's going to hit a brick wall and then it has to come back to 50%, cross over, and then 0%. It's going to hit a brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. So you want to be careful with the extremes. So that's the key thing to be aware of. And I think that might be it from the questions. It's basically saying, how do we identify the buy? Well, it's quite easy because if it's got a good score, it's a buy. If it's got a poor score, it's a sell. And then we should see green up here. We should see red down there. And so that proves the logic. The QDB score change could be of note, where the biggest mover was actually dollar-yen. So that could be setting up for a short opportunity if that continues. Okay, and euro yen also had a big dump on the scores too. And that's it, I think. So it's just some things I need to go over because I can't be having taken so many questions each time. Yeah, that's it. That's the questions that we've covered today. Hopefully it helps. And just to recap, it's really just to say if we're red up here, then it can be a good entry. If we're green down there, it can be a good entry. But what we should be seeing is greens up here, and we should be seeing reds down there, because then that would be normal, right? And just to be careful if we've exceeded ADR, and to be careful if we've exceeded the percentage long. And that's the video on the QDB scores. So I wish you a good night, and I'll speak to you guys soon.